For centuries, the human mind stood as an unparalleled pinnacle of intelligence, a fortress of thought, uniquely capable of creativity, understanding, and consciousness. But what if that fortress isn't as impenetrable as we once believed? What if, one day, a machine could truly think? This isn't science fiction. This is the enduring question at the heart of one of philosophy's most celebrated experiments. The Turing Test, a deceptively simple game that challenges our very definition of what it means to possess a mind. In 1950, the visionary British mathematician and computer scientist Alan Turing published a groundbreaking paper, Computing Machinery and Intelligence, instead of asking the loaded question, "Can machines think?" which he deemed too meaningless to deserve discussion. He proposed a practical, observable test. He called it the Imitation Game. Imagine this: you, as an interrogator, are placed in a room, connected by a text interface to two unknown participants in separate rooms. One is a human, the other is a machine. Your goal is to determine, solely through conversation, which is which. If, after a sustained dialogue, the machine can consistently fool you into believing it's human, then, Turing suggested, we might reasonably conclude it possesses intelligence. It's not about being human. It's about being indistinguishable from a human mind through conversation. Turing deliberately focused on behavioral intelligence, on the outward manifestation of thought, rather than the internal mechanics or subjective experience. This ingenious shift sidestepped the thorny philosophical debates of consciousness, pushing the focus onto provable interaction. For decades, the Turing test remained a theoretical challenge. Then came the early breakthroughs. In the mid-1960s, Joseph Weizenbaum developed ELIZA, a program designed to mimic a Rogerian psychotherapist. It mostly rephrased user input as questions, often leading people to believe they were talking to a human, even though ELIZA had no understanding of what it was discussing. A more advanced contender, PARRY, emerged in the 1970s, designed to simulate a person with paranoid schizophrenia. PARRY was so convincing that in a Turing test experiment, psychiatrists sometimes failed to distinguish it from actual patients. The late 20th century saw the rise of the Loebler Prize, an annual competition aimed at advancing AI by administering restricted Turing tests. While no machine has ever fully convinced a majority of judges over extended periods in an unrestricted test, these competitions continue to push the boundaries of conversational AI. Today, with the advent of large language models, the very technology behind many AI assistants and generative tools, the spirit of the Turing test feels more relevant than ever. These models can generate coherent essays, participate in nuanced conversations, and even mimic distinct writing styles. Are we on the verge of machines truly passing the Turing test? Or is this just a new, more sophisticated form of imitation? Despite its elegance, the Turing test has faced profound philosophical challenges. The most famous is John Searle's Chinese room argument, proposed in 1980. Searle asks us to imagine a person, fluent only in English, locked in a room. They receive Chinese symbols through a slot, and using a complex rulebook, a program, they manipulate these symbols and pass new ones out. To an observer outside, it appears the room is perfectly conversant in Chinese. But here's the crucial point: the person inside the room understands nothing of Chinese. They are merely following instructions, manipulating symbols based on their syntax, their form, not their semantics, their meaning. Searle argues that a computer program operating on symbols is doing no more than the man in the Chinese room. It can simulate understanding, but it doesn't possess understanding. Other criticisms abound. The test focuses only on linguistic intelligence, ignoring other forms of intelligence. It can be fooled by clever tricks, or by exploiting human biases, rather than demonstrating genuine thought? And what about machines that think differently from humans? Should they be penalized for not mimicking us perfectly? The very definition of thinking becomes a moving target. So, if passing the Turing test doesn't definitively prove a machine can think, where does that leave us? Perhaps the question itself needs re-evaluation. Instead of asking if machines can imitate us, we might ask, can machines achieve intelligence in ways fundamentally different from our own? Today's AI excels in narrow domains, mastering chess, diagnosing diseases, or generating art, far surpassing human capabilities in specific tasks. This narrow AI doesn't claim to think like a human, but it undeniably performs intelligent functions. The true quest, then, might be for artificial general intelligence, AGI, a machine capable of understanding, learning, and applying intelligence across a broad range of tasks. Much like a human, the philosophical implications are vast. If AGI ever emerges, it would force us to redefine consciousness, personhood, and our place in the universe. It raises profound ethical questions. Who is responsible for an AI's actions? Should sentient AI have rights? The Turing test, then, becomes less of a finish line and more of a starting gun for these deeper inquiries. Alan Turing's simple imitation game ignited a revolution in computer science and continues to spark fervent philosophical debate. It forced us to confront the very essence of what intelligence is, whether it's purely biological or something that can emerge from complex computation. The answer to "can machines think?" remains elusive, a moving target defined by our evolving understanding of both machines and ourselves. But the journey of asking, of testing, of critically examining our assumptions, that is the true value of the Turing test. It's a continuous, unfolding dialogue at the frontier of human knowledge. So let us know what you think in the comments below, or is there are topics you want us to explore? Join us next time as we continue to unravel the universe's most compelling questions.